Welcome back to another recording of the Elevate Media Podcast. I am Chris Anderson, your host. Today, we're going to be talking to a great guest, a lot of experience. She is someone who seriously has mastered the art of scaling businesses. She's the founder of Experts Only Consulting, and she's helped companies hit some crazy growth, like 111% revenue increase in just 6 months over the last handful of years. She's built $2.5 million startups. She's trained over 100 sales associates, consultants, and she knows the franchise game inside and out. So if you're trying to grow, fix broken systems, or just finally get your business out of that stuck phase, well, this episode is exactly what you need. So we're super, super, super excited to have Allison Bridges on the show today. Allison, welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited, and I'm just gonna replay that recording of that intro over and over, like, as a hype up every single day. I love that.
Hey, if I can do anything for you, that is that it. That's good. So,
Yeah, confidence
but
boost
no,
for the
yeah, like 111% growth in 6 months, over the last handful of years for your clients. That's crazy. So
Mhm.
like we're just gonna dive right into it because I'm
Yeah.
curious, like when you start with these businesses, what's that first kind of go to that lever you pull to start getting that kind of result?
I think the very first thing I do, I mean, everything is fueled by energy,
Yeah.
right? And so for me, a lot of my success has been due to that energy exchange and transferring that to my clients. And so we always start, and whether this was when I was CEO of a company working day to day, or whether it was a consulting client, you have to get the business owner hyped up for what's to come, because the first step of all of it is believing, and I'm not a mindset coach by any means, but the first step is really believing that it's possible for you, believing that you have the same opportunity that anyone does, regardless of how saturated the market is or how many people do what you do. No one does it like you, right?
Yeah.
So we always start with a strategy call where we look around the corners and find a very unique, forward-thinking way of dominating the market. And typically, I start with three things because you don't want to overwhelm anyone.
Yeah.
And so we really start with just three different, very unique forward-thinking strategies that aren't what their competitors are doing, and nothing like that, right? I'm not a cookie cutter type gal. I love to live in the creative space. So we do that first, and that really re-energizes the business owner, which then trickles down to their team and whoever they're working with. So that's really step one for sure.
Cool. Yeah. And it's for you, like even starting out, like how did you kind of get that energy going and get things situated to be able to start even helping people do this?
With consulting,
Yeah.
it, it no one wants to hear this answer, but a lot of it was because I worked my freaking tail off since I was 14,
Mm.
worked in high school, worked for franchisors in high school. Um, and from there, I mean, I really just started being asked from previous employers, investors that were involved in businesses I was involved in,
Mhm.
and they wanted what I had brought to the business at a very, very young age. And I think the one thing and the one skill that we all have to learn is, I hate the word sales, but
Yeah.
that was really what skyrocketed my career at a very, very young age. And so it became, "Hey, Allison, can you help us do this? Hey, Allison, can you help us do that?" And before I knew it, I had a full time role growing a franchise. So we did like 3.2 million um, in franchise fees, which is insane. Normally it's like 600,000 a year. While I also had two enormous startups in the med spa space. So
Okay.
it, I think the biggest thing is, like, whatever you're going to do, be the absolute freaking best at it. Like, give it 120%. It doesn't matter if you're flipping burgers, so I did that before,
Yeah.
or if you're having a random conversation with someone on the street, give
Yeah.
every single second your all, because I've gotten opportunities from literally someone I met at the nail salon before, you know? So you just never know.
Yeah, absolutely. So does that look different from someone who's going from, startup at $0, trying to just get things rolling to someone who's trying to scale to, 6 figures, 7 figures from where they're at now? Is there a difference between those levels?
Yes and no. So someone that's just starting out needs the exact same energy as someone that's scaled, because at some point your business stalled for a reason.
Sure.
And so the reason that I say yes and no is yes, I mean, you have to keep the same energy and all of that. But if you don't start from the very beginning doing things the right way, you're going to be a disaster. And what's going
Mm,
to happen then is that disaster becomes you working in your business, not on your business.
right.
And so I predominantly work with service-based providers. And so that, I mean, that's anything from influencers, podcasters, doctors. I have a construction company, a chef, all over the place. But if you're actively doing things during the day and supporting your clients or whatever the case may be, who's working on your business? And not nine times out of 10, the answer is nobody. And
Right.
so the issue with scaling at that point is you've created a disaster, and you're really, really good at the service you provide, but you're not necessarily good at running a business, or you would be doing business consulting.
Sure.
So that's what I tell everyone. If a doctor's in surgery all day long, I'm not quite sure he's relying on someone to run his business. And being tapped out is a scary thing. And that's the one thing that makes you stall in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge piece is, navigating that. So with scaling, what is
Yeah.
one thing that sounds smart that everyone, you might hear a lot of people say, but actually is killing business growth?
ChatGPT.
Yeah? How so?
Mhm. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I mean, if I pulled mine up right now, you'd see that I have 9,700 because I build one for all of my clients. But
Yeah.
we have a certain way of doing it, so it is smart.
Okay.
Meaning, like, we think first,
Mm,
and that's key. We think first, have your ideas first, give yourself time to create and think and live in that creative space, because no one can ever take that from you.
yeah.
Your competitor can't. And then execute second if you're using ChatGPT. So
Okay.
the second that I see a business that has a bunch of green check marks, I'm like, yikes.com, we got to get out of here. This person is just, who knows what's on there.
Right.
And so I think that it's a controversial answer, of course. And I think when you use AI properly, it's the best thing. Like, for example, I was exporting from one of my clients last night. I was exporting their lead list from a terrible software
Yeah.
that you can even download a CSV, like an Excel file, to import it into their new CRM. Like, it would
Okay.
have been copy and paste manual. So I took screenshots, uploaded into ChatGPT, got ChatGPT to put it to the point that I can, actually get it to where I can just upload in an Excel document.
Gotcha.
That, in my opinion, is what we should be using ChatGPT for, right? It's not
Mm,
to create a business strategy plan. And that's
yeah.
what it initially, a year ago, all these business owners were doing. And now it's like, oh, you sound like everybody else in America, because everyone else in America is asking ChatGPT the exact same questions you are.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think it's definitely, I mean, a tool if used correctly. But I think it's going to be too much of a crutch for a lot of businesses.
mhm.
And yeah, like you said, they're not going to stand out. They're just going to sound like everybody else. And um, besides that, is there anything else, businesses get wrong when they bring in a consultant like you?
Oh gosh. I think that a big piece of what I see, again, and I'm speaking in terms of like anything from you own a franchise, because I've seen that,
Hmm.
to you're a doctor that is selling your own surgeries. I mean, I've seen both of those things in my life, and I've been a part of both of them.
Yeah.
And when you are 100% the sales cycle and 100% the business, you do not have an exit strategy ever. You will
Right.
continue in the hamster wheel. And so I absolutely love what I do. I'm obsessed with talking about business. It's
Yeah.
all day of my life, right? That and sports and my family. And I mean, really, truly. And but I have things created so that my business can be licensed out. It can be handed
Mm,
down to somebody at some point. Something happens to me, my kids can take it, whatever the case may be. But no one thinks with the end in mind. They're always concerned about what their revenue goal is. They're not concerned about the exit strategy. Does that make sense? So I think that making yourself 100% of the business and leaving no breadcrumbs for anyone to pick up is a race to the bottom, because it's not only not scalable, but it's not sellable.
Yeah.
And we never think, we're going to business to sell our business, but
Right.
by all means, if a huge consulting firm or whatever came in and they're like, "Hey, like, we wanna help you license," like, I have everything in line and ready to go for that to happen. And
Mhm.
most businesses that I see don't even have an email sequence going out
Right.
or a
Yeah.
calendar,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
booking
So
links.
how do they start building those things, those systems, those processes to be able to prepare for some of this when maybe the only one, in the system right now, they're on their own. What would be the first step in building all that?
I think and my answer is not gonna be hire a consultant, right? Because that's a dumb
Sure.
answer. I wanna give free advice today, right? Um, I will say there are so many tools that are very, very simple. Go High Level and Kajabi are very user friendly. Kajabi's like $33 a month. Go High
Mhm.
Level, you can get, super cheap too. It's about the same price. And there's so many resources. There's GPTs that will answer your questions. There's tons of training. There's a million YouTube videos. And I think that taking the time away from working in your business for a week and setting up those systems, like the automations, like what happens before someone buys, what happens when they buy, what happens after they buy, what happens in 6 months when they haven't bought, right? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think people avoid all of that because it takes time,
Yeah.
right? And so that's
Right.
what I do is I give people back their time. But if you can't afford that, I'm here to give you the advice that get a free trial, teach yourself, block a whole week off, see nobody. Don't do anything, but get those things set up.
Yeah.
And then your business will run so much smoother. And like I said, the cost is very low, a 30-day free trial, and then maybe $30 a month, right? I mean, that's not too bad.
Right.
So I think that most people don't want to take away the time from seeing clients or patients or whatever the case may be because they're like, oh, revenue is going to take a dip. But what really is happening is your revenue is already taking a dip because you don't have anything in place and you've
Yep.
lost deals that you don't even know that you've lost,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because I mean, because you have to have a consistent like lead coming in, right? That pipeline has to be running full to be able
people
to.
wait. Yeah,
Yeah.
people wait until it's a disaster.
Hmm.
And then they're scrambling, and I mean, I get a lot of those calls, and I like to move very quickly, I mean, within 2 weeks, we have things up and, like, completely running, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people wait until the lead well has dried up, and it's too late by then because it's almost like you have to go through the whole process again. You're not getting referrals because you weren't getting clients, and
Right.
do you see what I'm saying? It's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a disaster, so
Sure. So, how do they go about? Because you mentioned, business, sports life,
yeah,
family stuff.
yeah.
How does someone find the harmony in all that? I mean, obviously, it's it depends on seasons, right? But how do you kind of guide it to have that kind of like holistic harmony with it all?
Yeah. I think my first answer I got the same question yesterday,
Oh,
and
nice.
my answer is exactly the same, and it's a really, really good question because that's what we're all fighting for right now. We're all
Right.
fighting for time while making money. It's a very wonderful recipe, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I do have 2 kids, I've been married for 18 years, I don't skip a workout, I do what I wanna, have a social life, we go boating all the time, like, that kinda stuff,
Yeah.
and I think for me I'm doing what I want to be doing. And that's like the very first thing you have to ask yourself. Like, is this business what I want to be doing? Because it might not be. It might have just been like, oh, I'm good at making websites. Now I do websites and I actually hate websites. So you have to ask yourself, are you doing what you're doing? Because if you're not, then you're going to constantly fight whatever your to do list is and you're going to spin your wheels, wasting time doing things you
Right.
don't want to do. Right. And I actually, my daughter taught me that lesson the other day. She like crushed cleaning the kitchen. And I was like, Aubrey, why is the kitchen like ridiculously clean right now? And she goes, I said, every time I ask you, it never gets done. She was like, well, today I wanted to do it. And so I did a good job because I wanted to. And I was like, that's a really good lesson because think
Yeah.
about it. We avoid things that we don't want to do. Right.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
think that that's number one. Number two is I think we all need to throw in the garbage can the fact that everyone that's successful wakes up at 5 AM.
Yeah.
I think we need to throw that in the garbage can because not everyone works the same way. Not everyone has the same situation. And I fought that battle for the longest time. And not to get like super personal, but like I have terrible ADHD. You can probably tell by the way I talk. My brain's always going. I don't think before I speak.
Yeah.
And so I have a huge issue at bedtime because I don't produce melatonin. Anyone with ADHD doesn't produce melatonin the same way that normal people do, right? So I used to panic at bedtime because I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't go to sleep, I'm not going to get up. I won't be able to work out. And I won't be able to get my stuff done. And
Right.
I'm not even joking. Like this is actually what my brain did. And I finally was like, I actually don't really care when I wake up every single day. I know I'm going to wake up in enough time to do X, Y, and Z. But like if I feel like I'm very productive working until 2 o'clock in the morning, I understand circadian rhythms and all that kind of stuff and
Right.
hormones. However, if I get more stuff done at that period of time, then I'm just going to do that. And my workouts are just going to be a little bit later and I'm going to shift my day accordingly. So I think that that's something that we all need to realize. And I think so many people spend so much time blocking, worrying about what their perfect schedule looks like, that they're actually wasting time trying to time block for
Right.
2 hours when they actually something pops up and then suddenly now your time block is ruined and you feel, do you see what I'm saying? You go in the
Yeah,
rabbit
yeah.
entrepreneur because you don't have the 9 to 5. Like you don't have that anymore. And you're like, what am I supposed to do at what time? And the answer to that is just do the freaking needle movers. Like
Yeah.
do the needle movers and whatever. But the other part to the family is my kids are in a lot of sports. They both play 3 sports and travel sports and all that kind of stuff. And if I'm at practice, I'm fully capable. Like I feel like I'm in a library sometimes when I'm at my daughter's volleyball practice. I hear the volleyballs. I can go watch her if I want to, but I also always bring my laptop because what else am I going to do? Go sit in the car?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or am I gonna scroll on social media? No, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do that. I'm gonna get some stuff done. So I think you have to look at where your downtime is and where you're spending your downtime and bring your laptop with you. We all have
Yeah.
hotspots on our phone.
Yep.
And then when it's family time, it just is family time. I don't bring my phone around. I set boundaries with my clients. They know when, we're going to meet and how things are going to go. And my phone doesn't blow up all week long with clients because, first of all, we have things handled. But secondly, I have basically said, like, hey, if you send me sporadic emails, like, I don't operate like that. It's not productive for anybody. So, like, here's how we're going to work together. And I think
Right.
business owners have to train their clients and their employees also because I don't just own experts only, I actually own a franchise as well.
Nice.
And my employees know how things run. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's super important. So hopefully
Yeah,
that
and
was
I
helpful.
think no, yeah, and I think, big thing is it's a learning lesson or a learning journey, and it's not the same for everybody, like, and
Yep.
it's seasons too, like, when I first started, didn't have kids,
Yep.
and so, like, I had a lot more time freedom, I guess, schedule opportunities,
Yep.
whereas now I have 2 little kids, a 3rd one on the way, and it's like, I
Congrats.
thank you, yeah, so, I wanna spend time with them, and so
Yeah.
there's times there, that when I spend time with them, I spend time with them, and then they go to bed, so maybe I'll work later than I
Exactly.
used to because I was getting up early, but now it's like, okay, I spend time with them,
Yep.
in exchange for I'll just stay up later and work when it's, like, quiet time, and then I'll just sleep because they get up at, like, 7:30 every day, so it's like, I would have to get up early to do everything before, but if I, spend time with at breakfast with them and stuff, it just shifts. So you have to be able to be flexible a little bit and
With
then adapt to
yourself,
life. Yeah.
yeah, and, like, why would your brain is wasting very, very valuable time just sitting
Mhm.
there arguing with yourself about what society tells you to do, and I'm very
Right.
much like, I encourage everyone, like, I don't care what you do with your life, right? I'm just here to give the advice that, like, we should all just stop beating ourselves up about
Yeah.
things that, like, they don't work like, every single human is different, and
Yeah.
every person it's, like and what are you doing if you're trying to get out of your 9 to 5? I mean, when are you working then? By default, you're
Exactly.
probably not you know what I mean? So, you just gotta fit things in where you can, and for me, like, my to-do list is super long, and so I actually made a guide for entrepreneurs for it, and I'm happy to link that for
Sure.
you guys, but, I just called it the "When I'm Done" list.
Nice.
And I just every day I'm like, "All right, when I can do these things, I'm done, and I can do whatever I wanna do."
Yeah.
And maybe that's work more. Maybe
Yeah.
it's go to the park, whatever I
Sure.
feel like doing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
everyone should just be doing what they want to, whenever they want to.
That's awesome.
I don't know, that's how I live my life,
Yeah, the
so
thing is, you've gotta reward yourself along the journey, right? Because
yeah,
it is so I mean, building a business is, simple, but it is very hard. So, like,
it is.
we overcomplicate it, but it is still hard. So, like, having those
Yep,
moments of, things that you enjoy to do, maybe you sent 50 messages. So like, hey, pat on the back. I'm gonna go do this now to one recharge and just enjoy
Mhm.
what you're setting out to do. I think it's super important.
Yeah, amen to that, and,
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, automations will give you a lot of that time back, so you're not
right.
just constantly, like I mean, I set up an automation because everyone keeps messaging me and saying, like, "Hey, I wanna pick your brain, I wanna get on a call with you, I wanted this,
Yeah,
I wanted that," and so I set up a trigger in ManyChat that if anyone says, "I wanna get lunch, I wanna get coffee, I wanna pick your brain, I wanna hop on a call," now there's a whole list that says, like, "This call is for this call is for this," and it's on my calendar, and I'm not going back and forth with anybody because it's very descriptive and directive,
I
so
like that. So you like ManyChat for
I'm
messaging
a
automation?
oh my gosh, I'm a every single one of my clients has ManyChat from construction to dock building to
Cool.
chefs to business consulting, so
That's awesome. And it does
huge
social
fan.
media and other locations or just social media?
So right now in the USA, ManyChat isn't approved for TikTok, it's only
Okay.
approved for Meta, but
Okay,
that
cool.
update is coming in the future,
Oh, nice, cool.
yeah,
That's neat,
and there's
yeah.
an AI feature for that too, and it can do I mean, you can build an entire web of automations that your Instagram will just sell for you, and I think for me, I just don't really scroll too much, like, I know Instagram's like, "Oh, we reward engagement." Sorry, Instagram, sorry, Meta, I just I'm not I'm gonna engage with who I want to, I'm not gonna do
Mhm.
it just because someone told me to do it,
Right.
and I find myself scrolling when I try to engage, and that's
Yeah,
wasting my time, so
for
that's why I
sure.
just set up ManyChat and I'm like, "All right, well, have at it. Here's free resources and
Yeah,
all the things."
that's cool. No, like, do you have any other automations that you really like, that your go-to that help, declutter or give some time back?
I'd say I mean, I use Go High Level personally. I white
Mhm.
labeled one for experts only just
Oh,
because
nice.
it sped up the implementation process for my clients,
Sure.
and that's a
Uh-huh.
W. So, but ManyChat's predominantly the one that I use. I did try at one point to use, I mean, ChatGPT, of course, too, but I did try at one point to use Motion. And
Oh,
it's AI s yeah, it's an AI scheduler, and I find that that works well just for getting tasks done, but
mhm,
it doesn't work well if you don't want a time block, and I'm not interested in time blocking.
gotcha.
So, I when I stopped doing the time blocking, that's when I felt like I 10x'd my productivity level.
Mhm.
But if you are someone that does like to do that, that would be a very, helpful platform as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, it's again, finding what works for you, but I think also we do have such great tools for automation and things to be able to utilize those without losing that human touch within your business, on the
Yeah.
client side.
Yeah, and I think just being, like, very upfront
Mhm.
with people, like, don't try to act like it's you where no one's stupid.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and with ManyChat, there is an AI feature where it will detect the words and it will have the conversation, but you can create an avatar like, "Oh, I'm Allison's AI assistant, like,
yeah,
think just like Allison. What can I do for you?" And people expect that nowadays. Like,
right.
nobody thinks that you're a keyboard warrior, and some
Yeah,
people still are, and props to them by all means,
yeah.
but nobody people are expecting things to be automated to an extent,
Mhm.
and that occurred when we all decided we want everything right now. It's the second we
Yep.
started streaming music and Blockbuster went under and you know what I mean? Like, all those
Yeah,
things I'm a millennial, so I'm
I'm
a
with
huge
you.
millennial. Yeah.
Yep,
But, like, the second that that started happening, we decided we needed everything immediately,
yep.
and then that continued on to our social networking platforms as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a good point, and, yeah, and that's a hard thing, like, with attention spans dwindling and then everyone wanting everything right now, like, you get mad when you don't get it in 2 days, right? Shipping anymore,
100%.
and so it's like, how do we battle that as a business with,
Yeah,
our
that's a good question.
deliverables?
Yeah, and the answer really is automations and being
Yeah,
upfront about it. I mean, some things are not going to be immediate, and for people
sure.
that aren't I mean, I've been running businesses my entire life, so it's like I mean, I literally was a manager at 16 at a tanning bed, so, I mean, I
Nice.
really have been doing this I'm 38 now, so, been doing it for a minute, but if you haven't and you're just starting out, I think my advice would be to do the opposite. Take your time and give as much personal touch and then build while you're learning because
Yeah,
you can't you don't know what you don't know.
right.
And so if you are just starting out in something that you haven't been doing, if it's a new venture, you really do need to take the time to figure it out and pivot as needed. So I think there's certain things like if you're partnering with an expert, they can tell you what needs to happen. And that's when I would recommend it
For sure.
in those instances for sure. So not everything has to be, you don't have to work on other people's timelines, but you do have to be cognizant of the fact that that is the expectation nowadays. And so get good at one thing that you can do really fast and then move on to the next. I mean, that's all you can do. You gotta be
Absolutely.
patient with yourself too.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And so you said you were running a franchise or running a tanning bed at 16, I think, you
Yeah.
said. So this, your journey of, uh, management, ownership, business, entrepreneurship, what would you say the top 3 things, the biggest things that really helped you propel in your success? What would those 3 things be?
I would say, first of all, humility.
Mm.
I mean, I'm a tough critic, so that goes along with that too, but
Uh-huh.
very tough critic for myself. I just have certain standards for myself. And when you can admit that you made a mistake or you didn't do something to the best of your ability, you can sit there and be like, okay, so this is a learning experience. What can I do next time to make it better?
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's simple. You don't have to be an expert at anything to be able to implement that.
Right.
But I actually have a video that will go on social media later about Blockbuster, and that's actually why
Nice.
Blockbuster fails. It's not it wasn't because of Netflix. It was because the CEO, spoiler alert, even though I know this probably won't go out, until a while ago, but the CEO of Blockbuster actually said, like laughed in, Netflix's face, and that's why they're not, there's one on the planet. So I
Yep.
think that you have to understand that to continue to grow in business. I think number 2 is, um, really allowing yourself to have the creative time. My favorite thing to do is create,
Mm,
and it's probably what I'm best at. Like,
that's awesome.
I really truly have just like a business intuition, and I see things coming before they come, which is really, really cool and fun. So I think that because I take time to go on walks and just actually think or, stay up late and think, whatever. I know it sounds so stupid, but if you're not penciling in or
Yeah.
taking time to think, you're never going to create anything. All you're going to do is copy all of your competitors.
Right.
So I'd say the majority actually of the reason that I've been successful is because there are things that I implemented in business before anyone was ever doing them because I just made it up I just made it up, you know what I mean?
Right,
And
yeah.
so you can't do that if you're so cluttered and you're not taking time to do that. So creativity and time for creativity, not asking ChatGPT, but like literally thinking about it.
On your own, yeah.
Looking outside of other industries. Don't ever look in your own industry. Like don't ever care what your industry is doing. Care about what you are doing and look at what works in other industries and say, "How can I plug this into mine?" That's, like, my favorite
I
thing
like
to do.
that. I think that's cool. Yeah, that's a really neat one.
Yeah, that's literally, like, super, super, has made me very, very successful, and I think the other thing is, like, just really and this takes a while, so this is probably not the best advice, but you really just, like, can't care.
Yeah.
Because I've had 2 businesses, so I've been successful, yeah, okay, but I've had 2 businesses that I mean, t right now as we speak, I have, like, 1,000 eyeshadow palettes from, like, 10 years ago that I
Uh-huh.
probably could've yeah, seriously, I created an entire line, all these different things, and I just did nothing with it because I was still in a spot at the time of what people thought, and it
Mm,
was a time where I was still working for somebody else and I was scared what would they think, what my, colleagues think, would they make fun of me? I literally had these thoughts and it's so embarrassing to say out loud, but I think people need to hear that. And I'm like, so right now I've got, who knows who's going to get the eyeshadow palettes, they're there. But I wasted a lot of money and I probably wasted a lot of time and I probably could have hopped into entrepreneurship so much earlier than I did.
yeah.
And so if I just had the same stance now where I like do not there's not one person that I could care what they say.
Yeah.
Like, do not care.
Yeah.
Um, and I think just really quick to piggyback off of that,
Sure.
nobody should ever take 100% of someone's advice. Like, I
Mm,
hope
Yep.
people disagree with me in what I'm saying, because you need to be able to think for yourself. And if you just follow what you're obsessed with Alex Hermosi, you're like, oh my gosh, Alex
Right.
Hermosi is brilliant, and I'm going to do everything he does. I disagree with a lot of the things that he says, actually. And the one thing I love is his value equation sidebar, but
Yeah.
you can't 100% agree with anyone because you're not thinking for yourself and you're not creating your business for yourself. And that goes alongside of being scared of what people
Yeah.
are going to think.
Yeah. I think that's great advice, and this has been a great conversation. And
Yeah,
I hate that we have to wrap it up here
I
shortly, but
know.
I want to end with like some quick, kind of like more rapid fire questions.
Okay.
But again, this Allison has been fantastic, and I appreciate
Yeah.
your time on it. So, um, from your perspective, what would you say is the most overrated business metric out there?
Uh, Honestly, anything that is related to paid advertising.
Okay.
I don't look at that, and I'd say the other sorry, I have to say one more. It's,
Yeah.
everything that's on like, every metric, views, impressions, likes, shares. Who cares? Because today, for those of you that don't know, July 10th, as we're recording this, now Instagram and Facebook will show up on SEO for Google. So
Yep.
it does not matter if anybody sees your posts,
Yep.
literally, because if they're looking for your service, they now can find it because you've decided to be on social media.
Yeah. I think that's crazy. Yeah, it's going to be searchable through Google or show up on Google. I just saw that as well.
Huge. Yep.
Um, so yeah, I think the vanity metrics, yeah, I agree, are overrated. Um, because you have a thriving business with a small following. It's not about the
I,
numbers necessarily. It's about, are you
yeah.
getting enough of the right eyes on what you're doing?
Yeah, I made more money. I have a video. I mean, I made $450,000 in 6 months without I didn't even have a social media. I
Right.
just started social media in February.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Um, if a founder could only fix one thing this quarter, what should that be?
I will have to go back to taking the week off to
Oh,
fix your business,
yeah.
because you're going to get you can be successful, but you're still losing business and you're stalling your success if you don't take the time to actually look at your journey of your client
Yeah.
before they even know about you, when they know about you, when they become a lead, and then after. So nurture
Gotcha.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Besides, you have to get up at 5 a.m. to be successful. What's the worst piece of advice you've received in business?
Uh, hmm. That's a tough one. I don't think that any advice this is a bad answer too, but I don't think any advice has ever been 100% bad, because I've taken it and I've twisted it, because
Yeah.
every piece of advice has a golden nugget in it. It
Yep.
just like, you shouldn't just only do that.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think that that's probably it. I mean, I don't think
No, I like
anything's
that.
bad advice. I think you should listen to everything, but think for yourself.
For sure.
Um, so
No, I like that. I think that's good. I think you can learn from anyone, um, and you can at least ponder the thoughts of everyone and what people say, and kind of take it and make it your own with your own thought behind it. So, no, I do. I like that. Last one, uh, number one book you'd recommend for anybody starting out in business to read?
um it's called, is it Unwork or Rework? It's the story of I'm gonna look it up right now. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
story of the founders of Basecamp.
Okay.
I think it's either Rework or Unwork.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it is
I'm literally looking it up right now. Yeah, it's Rework. Sorry,
rework. Okay,
I
rework.
read it this time last year.
Okay.
I read that book because I do, like I said, I don't really listen to anybody. I listen
You're
to
right.
myself, and I hear everyone, but I don't do one thing. I think I've made that point clear. But I read that book and I was like, bro, I've been right for 15 years and I didn't even know it. Like, literally, like, that whole book was so validating to me, because we all have those moments where we're like, "Why the hell did you say that?" Or
Yeah,
like, "Why would you ask me to do that? That doesn't even make any sense." Like,
yeah,
logically, it doesn't make any sense, but you do it anyways, and you're like, "They must be right because 'cause I'm stupid,"
right.
whatever,
They're farther along. Yeah,
and that's kind of how you go through life, and that was I mean, I went through that myself, but I always had this voice inside my head. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And so I would always try to make my way to the top of whatever company because I was like, oh, if I'm at the top, I can change it, you know? So
Hmm.
anyways, that book is really, really great,
That's
just
awesome.
because it undoes I mean, meetings, I hate meetings.
Mhm.
Meetings are stupid, right? Unless you're gonna accomplish something.
Right.
It even talks about that. It literally talks about how stupid meetings were, and I was like, "I've been saying this for a million years." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't if you have to call a meeting with someone, it's already too late, by the way. So, you know what I mean? But that's a
Yeah.
really, really great book, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, awesome. Well, Allison, this has been fantastic. Again, I really appreciate you coming on. If people want to learn from you, get connected with you, and possibly, seek out your service, where's the best place people can go to do that?
I would just go to my personal. I'm most active on there, and as I said, I have an automated call response. So
There we
if
go.
you're a question, you're
Perfect.
gonna get answered right
There we
away.
go.
No, it's Allison M. Bridges, and I'll also, give you the link for the when I'm done
Oh,
checklist, 'cause I
sure.
think that's really
That'd be
helpful
awesome.
too. But yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, I do answer too, by the way. I do answer direct messages.
Right.
I love when people send me voice messages
Mhm.
because it's more personable, and I think that it takes a lot to do that. So send me a voice message. I will definitely answer you for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, yeah, everyone, make sure you get connected with Allison, send her a voice message, and just continue to learn from her. But Allison, again, thank you so much for being on the Elevate Media podcast today.
Of course, appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this and you know someone who's, starting out, share
Mhm.
this episode with them. We can do more together by
Yeah.
doing that, and also follow the show so we can reach and help more people together. But until next time, continue to go out there, elevate your life, elevate your business, and we will talk to you again next time.